Yeah, it looks good. Like it looks good this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good this
yeah.
way.
Wow,
Oh
man.
yeah, this is good.
Well, let's bring our special guest in, Mr. Tarrus.
Yeah.
Mr. Tarrus is going to do a home theater tour for us, and maybe he's watched this movie too, Paul. So we might be able to get some intake from him. But Mr. Tarrus, he actually runs the Fun Waste of Time podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you go to his website, The Fun Waste of Time. He talks about games. He talks about home theater, talks about the movie industry. He's got his crew over there that banter back and forth with each other. It's a fantastic show. I've been listening to it for quite some time now, and I enjoy every episode that comes out. Every time I go to work my other job and load and everything else like that, I'm putting on his podcast, to listen while I'm working and stuff. So, Mr. Tarrus, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty good, Don. That's the best way to listen to the Fun Waste of Time, as background music, background noise.
And if you guys can hear that radio voice, I'm done talking for the evening.
I know, right? You guys enjoy the Tarrus show now. It's no longer the home theater house.
Big basketball fan.
Cool.
Like I said, gaming is a hobby of mine. I definitely keep gaming memorabilia. Control 4 throughout the house. We have about 10 touch screens throughout the house and whatnot.
Damn. I only have 3.
So who's your basketball team?
I'm from California. I'm from San Francisco. So I rep the Warriors, but I live in San Antonio, so I got to support the Spurs.
Yeah,
I'm a Spurs fan too, man.
So are those consoles, like, they're just for display, right?
They are. They are.
Okay. I have one. I sort of have something like that too going on. Sort of. Very cool.
And this is the studio, right, Tarrus?
Yeah, this is just a studio. Big Star Trek fan.
Very nice, very nice. I love the posters. Love the decoration that you did in there.
Got some
acoustic. Yeah, very well done. Very got a good theme. Good. I like it.
Yeah, man. I like it.
Yeah, I made a comment to him one time because I'm a big poker player, and I saw the picture of this poker table. I'm like, man, that's a pretty interesting table for podcasting. So I said, you got to play some poker on that thing. So he's got the cords running through the cup holders and everything. That's awesome. I love it.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, so this is the studio. That's it.
Very cool.
Plenty of absorption in there. I like it.
Yeah, definitely have to keep the sound treated.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So that is the studio. I'm going to run upstairs and get ready to show you guys the theater.
Well, you're in Texas, so you don't have basements, right? I imagine.
No, we don't do basements here. No,
we don't do basements. Yeah, right. I wish we did, but it's too hot anyway. You don't even want to be any lower than we already are.
Well, it should be cooler.
In Texas, I don't know, man.
The basements stay constant, like 70
Yeah.
degrees.
It's actually kind of nice. Actually, it's much cooler. Well, whatever. It's not in our basement here.
But they don't work.
If I had a basement,
dry.
If I had a basement, I want at least 10-foot ceilings.
Exactly.
Yep.
I have 10 feet in the front of my theater in the basement, in the front. So
do you? Okay, that is awesome.
Yeah, Texas has a lot of clay soil, man. Probably not the best.
I've heard it's not ideal, and I have some coworkers that live in Dallas, and they explained it to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right.
All right, so we're heading up the stairs.
We're walking down the aisle here. I feel like I'm getting into a commitment.
I'm trying to go slow because I don't want the frame rate to.
More like a walk of shame, Paul.
Yeah.
Whoa. Dude. You got 2 TVs, man?
Wow. It's a bedroom.
Wait, is that
White
2
games
TVs?
too.
Yeah, 2 TVs in the bedroom, man.
No, so those of you that don't know, excuse me, Tarrus's wife is a big gamer also. So they got to have their separate. They got to have their separate TVs. They're not playing split screen.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got on a sound bar there. See, 2 sound bars.
Got 2 consoles, two Xboxes, 2 PlayStations.
That's pretty sweet, man.
All right.
That's great to have a partner that enjoys doing the same stuff that you do.
Looks like really you got a home theater in there, no? Or
well, I know it's overstating it, but I know he has game in the bedroom.
I know you're allowed to have game in the bedroom.
Wow. I like to make a t-shirt.
Wow.
I might have to make a t-shirt of that, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, hey, I recognize game.
Hey, game recognized game, huh? Yeah.
Right here.
That's better.
It's like what we see 2 feet to the left and almost the entire door.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks good. Like it looks good this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good this way.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, we can see the whole theater already. Damn, that looks amazing. Nice rack. Don't tell anybody I said that. No.
Yeah, some diffusion. Damn.
Yeah, I know, man. It looks great. I see some in-ceiling.
That's a lot of in-ceiling.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll start from the front and work my way to the back. Okay?
Yep.
That'll work.
All right.
Oh yeah, definitely nice.
I like the color scheme. It's really nice.
Yeah, we're big into neutral colors. Yeah. Black and gray is cool. We really wanted to do something different. We spent a lot of time in here. We wanted something that felt a little more homey.
Yeah.
So we decided with like a neutral browns, right? Steady brown is the name of the paint that's on the walls, and well-bred brown is the paint that's actually on the ceiling, which is a dark chocolate brown. Well, I didn't want to do black. Definitely wanted something dark nonetheless.
Right.
And these are the new SVS SB17s that I put in just this week, Tuesday.
Hey,
those are the first ones in the wild.
Yeah, you got to take off the cover of those so we can see.
You want the cover off? I'll tell you what. Once I'm done here,
I always want the covers up.
All right.
All right, so tell us a little bit, Tarrus. Give us a tour. What are you using for speakers? What type of panels do you have?
So let me start with the Atmos, because they're the ones that are displayed, because I took the covers off of those. I'm not using any of the metal grills because I don't want anything rattling in the room. So I made some custom cloth grills to go over the Atmos heights and the in-ceiling subs. All of the bed layer speakers, as you can see, they're all covered by panels, acoustic panels. There is acoustical treatment around the speakers as well. So they are acoustically treated. I'm going to sit down in my seat and I'm going to show you the front row speakers and subs in the ceiling here. So what you're looking at there, that is the Triad Silver 8 LCR. All of my bed layer speakers are Triad Silver LCRs. I've got 3 6 LCRs behind the screen in the baffle wall, and I've got 2, 4, 6. I've got 8 4 LCRs as my side surrounds and rears. And then the 12th bed layer speaker, or I should say LCR, is the second center channel that you're looking at right now. And this is how it is displayed when I'm sitting in my seat. This is what I see. Over to the left, that is a 10-inch sub. I've got 14 10-inch subs strategically placed around the room to provide as much even bass response as I could possibly get. And the reason I wanted 10-inch subs, architectural 10-inch subs, is because of the flexibility that I have to place them in the room where I'd like to have them, as opposed to having to have two fantastic but still hulking subs in the room like the SVS SV17s. So that one there is the left front ceiling sub. That is the left front Atmos height. The middle ceiling front ceiling sub. The right Atmos height. These are the Triad Bronze 5 LCRs. And then the right front ceiling sub. In the back, we've got the rear ceiling left sub. And what you're looking at there, that's the Velcro that I utilized to put the panel, the custom panel. Yeah. Here is the rear or Atmos height, which is imaged around the front row, the main listening position there. Then we've got the right Atmos height, rear right Atmos height, once again around the front row seating position. Then we've got the rear right end ceiling sub. And then on the back wall, I'm going to start getting to the in-wall subwoofers here. That's an in-wall subwoofer there on the rear wall. That's a Triad Bronze 4 slim sub there. And then there's one on the opposite side over there as well. And then behind the screen, and I've got some photos to show you guys what it looks like behind the screen of the baffle wall. But there are 6 subs in the actual baffle wall, 2 outer 4 slim bronze subs. There is a bronze sub in the middle around the center channel on the bottom, and then there's another set of bronze subs on the same level as the center channel. And you'll be able to see that in a minute. I also have another sub you can't see, but there's another in-ceiling sub right here. Right in between the 2 middle recessed lights, there's that's the 6th ceiling sub there, 10-inch sub. So what else do we have here? The bed layer. These bulky panels that you see right here, these are the front wides. And the reason these panels had to be built to match the rest of the aesthetic of the room is because this wall here is an exterior wall. Right where the front wides needed to be placed, based on the degrees and the angles that I actually worked with Stephen Smith on, there was a cross stud right where that front wide would have normally gone. So typically what I would have done for the front wides, in order not to have a bulky panel, I would have done something like the Triad 8 silver LCR. Right, I would have put that in the wall because it's already got a natural 45-degree baffle, and then I could have made a smaller panel. But because it had that cross stud there, that wasn't going to be possible. So it was just easier to get matching silver for LCRs to place there. So that's what we did there. And that's what we did over here. This is a right side surround here. You can't see it. I'm not going to take the panel off. But that's a silver for LCR there. This is the acoustical material insulation around it.
Now, is that something that you made yourself, Tarrus, or is that something you purchased, those panels?
These panels were actually purchased from Anthony Gramani. I actually, all of my acoustical treatments I purchased directly from him. got some consultation from him and one of his consultants, a gentleman by the name of Mario Prevetti. And the company that I worked with of his that strictly deals with acoustics is his company called MSR Acoustics.
Mm.
And on MSR Acoustics, he's got a few different plans of acoustical treatments that you can actually get for your room depending on the square footage. So my square footage is about 400 square feet, 400 to 450. So I went with one of the larger plans, but without the bass traps because I really didn't need them. And as you can see, there's no place to put bass traps in my room. And with all of the insulation that I have and the seats, the riser, the stage, everything is pretty much insulated. So I really didn't feel the need to do that. But so these are the sights around here. Front row, sights around. Second row, sights around here. Directly over there. This is where the rear surround is located. And then the opposite panel on the other side is another rear surround. That's the right rear surround. That's the left rear surround. And all of the speaker positions, like I said, are based on degrees. So the side surrounds, 80 degrees. This is about the same proportion in the second row, in front of the seating position. The rear rear speakers there are about 15 degrees from 180 degrees in the center of the room on each side. So they're about 30 degrees apart from one another. The front stage here, we have the right LCR is right on the edge of the screen here, there. The center is directly in the center of the screen here, right about there. And the right front is right about there.
So right at the edge of the screen. That's perfect.
Right at the edge of the screen, yeah. Yeah. And they're towed in about 45 degrees to the listening position. To the main listening position. But yes, so this is pretty much it, guys. Let me see what else I got here. Let's take a look at the rack.
What is you got to have a lot of amplification. I bet.
I do. Now I'd like to do a.
So Tarrus, quickly, what's the dimension of your room?
The room is 16 feet wide, 25 feet deep, with an 8-foot ceiling.
Okay.
All right. So I have a Kaleidoscape. This is just the Strato S, the player. No, not the S. The I can't think of the name of the actual player.
The C or the S or the
C? It's the C. It's the C.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got a 24 terabyte Tera server in the actual server room in the media closet. I'll show that to you guys in a little bit. But that's what that is. This here is an Ashley Protea NE24.24M. This is a network matrix DSP. This handles a lot of the processing along with AVM 70 that I have, and it gives me the capability of having pretty much 30 speakers and subs throughout the room.
Oh, wow.
That's one. That's in a 12 by 12 configuration. That's the Control 4 video matrix, handling all of the, I've got about 13 displays throughout the house.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you flip the camera? Because we're only getting
I didn't know Control 4 made video matrices.
There we go. Now we can see the full thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, see, I can't tell what it is you guys see, but okay.
Yep,
gotcha.
No problem.
So that's the video matrix there. They do make video matrices, Adrian.
I had no idea. I thought they just, well, maybe. I've heard of the audio.
It's
for sure.
It's 4K 60 as well.
Okay. But does it do HDR?
Yeah, so, it does HDR also. Yep. HDR 10.
Oh, okay. I have it at Lona. I have a video matrix as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's the EA5. One of the central brains of the house.
I have the same one.
Yeah, I have this EA5, and throughout the house, we have about 10 EA1s behind behind a lot of the screens.
Right.
That's
you
the
can have
second. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you can have a different. You can have a sort of like a local little mini control for section that's not really interconnected. I suppose. I mean, I don't. That's what I don't. I just have the one the big one, and that's it.
Yeah, we have a lot of. I have about 65 different light switches.
Okay.
And fans throughout the house. So there's a lot of Zigbee devices here.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put them all on just the EA5. It's good to spread them out throughout the location.
Yeah,
so
a lot bogged down. I get it.
Yeah, Zigbee devices are on some of the other EA1s throughout the house.
So Tarrus, this Ashley, the Ashley DSP, can you explain what that's doing? That because you're and this is a question from Eric in the chat also. The AVM 70 is a 16-channel processor, right? You're saying that you have the capability of doing up to 30 channels. What exactly is this, Ashley? Is it taking the 16 channels and separating them into multiple? Explain to us what this is
basically
doing.
what it is. It's got 24 total channels that you can actually establish on each unit. You can configure them in any configuration of 4. You can do 12 inputs, right? So if you have your inputs on your AV receiver or your processor, you take those inputs and then you connect them to the Ashley, the inputs there. You can have up to 12, right? Then all of the outputs from all of your speakers and your subs, you can set that up in another configuration of 12 also. But you can do it in any configuration of 4 that you like. So let's say I've only got 8 input channels and I have 16 output channels, right? So maybe 16 speakers or 16 channels of speakers and subs in parallel, whatever configuration that may be. I can set up all of those 16 channels to the DSP or whatever configuration that I have it in. And then I can matrix any of those outputs to any of those inputs. So if I want to maybe have my front left channel connected to the input on my left side surround, I can actually do it in any configuration that I actually want to. I wish I took some images of how the system is networked. That's what I was trying to do before we started the show. Don, I just got so busy I didn't get the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, no problem.
It gives you a lot of flexibility.
Is there any sounds being duplicated from this? Are you running them in series, or like you said, are they matrixing 2 channels together to make one?
You can matrix 2 channels together to make one if you want to. You can matrix 6 channels together if you want.
Okay.
Any configuration that you have your Proteus set up in, you can actually matrix it out that way.
Yeah, because I'm looking for something like this myself, because I added a second set of side surrounds for my second row, and my processor will only do 16 channels, so I need 17 bed layer and the subwoofer. So something I was thinking about taking a mini DSP and separating it like that, but this seems like it would probably be a much better solution.
Yeah, so basically that's what you're doing. I have my 2 side surrounds, my 2 side surround outputs matrix onto the side surround input. So yeah, you can set it up in whatever configuration that you want. But let me keep going so I can board the folks.
Sure.
I've got that's Panamax M5400. I've got 2 of those. Oppo UDP 203, PlayStation Slim, Xbox Series X, 2 of the transmitters for my bass transducers. I've got 8 bass transducers in the room, 1 amp per row. My HT PC, my gaming PC, 1 of the Emotiva amps powering the bed layer, XPA-5, Anthem AVM 70, and another Panamax 5400M. So this is just the the rack in the theater. And there's also what you can't see behind the block panels there. I've got 3 Apple TVs throughout the house, as well as a Roku inside of the rack on the opposite side of this here.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to walk you around to the game room now.
So what
for a touch screen?
did we say? What size screen and what screen you were using, Tarrus? I'm sorry if I missed that.
No, we didn't actually. So the screen is a Stewart ST130 G4 Ultra Perf. It is 152 inches wide, 165 inches diagonal, and 65 inches tall. There is a black backing behind the screen. And the great thing about that black backing is if there were ever instances where maybe I could catch a little glimpse of what was going on behind the screen, even though I have a black line acoustic baffle wall, there are times when maybe I'd be watching content, and if it's a really dark scene and something really bright panned across the screen, you could just barely catch a glimpse of the speaker drivers behind the screen. With this black backing, all of that is taken care of. I do not see anything but a fantastic image on that screen, and the contrast on it is fantastic as well.
Yeah, I have the same screen, the G4, and I think I'm just about the same size you are. I'm like 160, so that just gives me a good perspective of what I'm going to be ending up with right there. So
yeah,
thank
it's
you for
fantastic.
sharing that. And what is your throw distance from your projector? You said the room's 25 feet, so you're pretty close to that, correct?
It's about 22 feet. 22 feet from the
Yeah, I was
from
going
the
to say
screen.
22.
Yep. 22 feet from the screen. Like I said earlier, the projector is the NX9, along with the Panamorph DCR lens, complementing it.
Very nice.
So
Yep.
what material is the black backing? Because I have one, the one that comes with my Seymour Center Stage XD is just a regular black. But did this come with the G4 or did you have to?
You know, this actually, my screen is a Stewart screen.
Okay.
Stewart actually makes a black backing to complement their screens.
Okay.
It's a really nice, heavy but transparent material.
Yeah.
It's almost like a GOM fabric, right? A Guilford of Maine fabric, acoustical fabric. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Very well made.
I have one with the Seymour Center Stage. Seymour also makes one, so I have one on my screen right now.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it, Ike, is I was actually concerned that maybe it would hamper the imaging coming from behind the screen with the speakers. So I reached out to the guy that's going to be doing my calibration, my audio calibration for me, actually this Saturday, Jeff Meary of Bison HTA. And he stated typically what happens, having a black backing isn't a bad thing at all, because in his experience, what he's noticed is it really does help to control those higher frequencies with high frequency attenuation, I think he called it.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is a benefit to that.
That's basically stopping. The main purpose is for that to stop the light going through the perfs,
Yeah,
correct?
to stop the bleeding
Yes.
of the light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Typically, it's for folks that have if they're hanging their screen on the wall and maybe they have a white screen, or not a white screen, but a white wall, or some other colored wall behind their screen, you put a black backing behind it to help with the contrast. But I wanted to do it because, for one, I've just been doing a lot of experimenting in my theater, as you can see, with all of the speaker placement and subs that I have going on throughout the room. But I kind of wanted to test it out to see how it would work out. And sure enough, man, it really has very much so improved the contrast of the imaging that I'm getting on that screen. So the blacks are really deep. Not saying that they weren't going to be without it, but it definitely helps when it comes to the contrast that I'm getting with images that are displayed on the screen.
Yeah. Are you able to remove, before you move to the game room, are you able to remove that the covers on the new SVS 17s?
I can. Give me a second.
No problem. And how far, while you're doing that, how far, you may have already mentioned it, but I'm sorry if I missed it. How far do you sit back from your screen?
You're a front row or back row guy?
Front row, that's 14 screen itself from the aperture of the screen, the front row. My main seat, my main listening position is this seat here.
Yeah.
You can tell by how wonderful and comfortable that seat looks compared to the others, right? Looks slept in.
That's a good thing.
And the back row is about 21 feet, 21 to 22 feet from the screen. And there's plenty of room for you to stretch without hitting the heads of the person sitting in front of you. You can see over them very, very easily, no issues at all. The riser is actually 18 inches tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like 18 inches.
Yeah.
That's a good amount.
I didn't want to make
I
the
have
mistake of getting a short riser, and it worked out. I can stand on the riser. I'm 6'2". I can stand on the riser without hitting my head on the ceiling or the acoustical treatments that are up there.
Mhm.
So worked out great.
What is that little device
What
that you
you
got
hear?
there on the second, on the set? What's that
That's
device
like
in the
an air
middle there?
filter.
Okay, now you guys like to guess what Paul's drinking typically when you start your shows. Anybody want to take a guess at what that is?
A talking drum.
Now notice it matches the color scheme I got going on, right?
That looks like a wine cooler, man.
That's actually it's an air
It's an
purifier.
air filter.
Air purifier, yeah. The
It's a
top give
Colway
it
air
away.
purifier. And I got lucky because man, it matched the color of my room fantastically, man. I mean, it blended in great. But one thing I did mention is the control system. You heard me say I have control 4, but that's the one of the newer control 4 remotes. I can't think of the model number right now. But that's my tried and true right there. The SR260. Absolutely love that remote.
Yeah, I have
Oh
the
yeah,
new ones.
the older one. What's it, the Halo or something like that?
Yeah, Halo.
The
Yeah.
Halo. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
It's
Is
not
it
the
the
touch
touch
screen one.
screen
It's
or not? It looks like the non-touch screen.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is.
I have the same one in my theater.
How do you like yours, Adrian?
It's good. It's got better battery power than the touchscreen ones, which lasts a day and a half, maybe 2 days. The
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah, the touchscreen, the non-touchscreen lasts maybe 4 to 5, maybe almost a week, if you're lucky. But it's not like crazy amount. Oh, you're using
Okay.
XLR, nice.
Yeah, I did, man. It's so funny because I spent this past weekend busting my behind getting the XLR cables run throughout the studs, and it's a 2-man job. I did it on my own, and my lord, it was painful. I got it done.
Did you use the old cable that was there, like to pull it out or something, or?
No, what I actually did is I have some fish line.
Okay.
So I cut the drywall hole. I put a screw in the ceiling. I put a screw in the ceiling where I actually cut the drywall.
Mm-hmm.
And
Also,
went up in the attic.
You never had subs here, is that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I get it.
I was never
Okay.
supposed
I
to have
just assumed you had.
external subs in my room.
I don't, never mind. I assumed you already had subs there at some point.
Yeah,
Okay.
my space was supposed to be completely architectural. Getting these external subs was something that kind of somebody recommended to me. Fantastic recommendation.
Yeah,
The plan was always
you're gonna feel it.
speakers and stuff.
I love SVS. I mean, that's what I got in my theater. So
Yeah, those are.
These SB17s are fantastic.
yeah,
They play deep, they play loud. I
I
haven't actually measured yet. That's going to be done on Saturday, so I'll be able to speak about it then. But so far, I'm pretty happy with them.
My hesitation is the weight of those things, because just to move them around. I mean, you only put them once, but I'd have to get help to carry these. What is it, 120 pounds or something?
Yeah, probably more than that. Probably closer to like 130. I actually brought them up the stairs myself.
Wow.
And
I struggle with
it was
mine.
no fun.
That are like 80 something
And
pounds.
yours are the sealed version, correct? Because they have a sealed and a ported version of those, correct?
Yeah, those
They
are
are sealed. Yeah, because all of my 14 subs, Don, they're sealed.
It makes sense.
It didn't make sense for me to get ported because
they
to blend them in best, it's just best to use sealed, and that's what I decided to do with these.
Yeah, I agree,
that's what I hear.
100%. I'm on SVS's site now trying to find out what the weight of those subs are.
They
I
weigh
thought the PB60
similar
was like
to
124
16s.
or something like that.
They're having a big sale on the 16s actually. Like it's actually kind of tempting.
Yeah, I've been getting text messages and all kinds of things. So the
Like a
sales.
really good sale. Like
Yeah, I actually thought about getting a couple more, but the boss would she probably
Yeah.
fired me. But
Yeah, no, I enjoy hearing about all of the 124 pounds. Ship weight is 136.
yeah.
But yeah, I enjoy hearing about all the upgrades that you've made, and once you get back to the studio, we'll talk about where you started and how far you've come with some pictures and stuff like that. But yeah, I enjoy on the podcast you talking about how the wife allows you to do certain things and stuff like that. But to my understanding, she enjoys the theater just as much as you do. Am I correct?
no, not really. Not really.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm.
Nah. Nah.
I see.
Yeah, my
It's my
wife doesn't
space.
watch. This is my my wife watches a couple of TV shows a week, and that's it. She's not. I mean, she likes it, but she doesn't. I spend most of the time in here alone.
Yeah, and she'll come in and we watch movies and that kind of thing because it's better than a local theater. I don't care what theater you have, IMAX, Dolby,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is. This theater definitely beats that in our opinion. But she prefers. We actually we bought a new couch a couple months ago, and the thing was super freaking expensive, dude. But she wanted it, so she's been so kind to me with everything I've done in the theater. It just made sense to get her something nice too. So she likes to spend all of her time downstairs, sitting on that couch, playing her games or watching her shows. So, but like I said, this absolutely would not be possible without her. So I'm very grateful that she was willing to allow me to do all this.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because it's not just my money; it's hers too.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And as we said earlier, happy wife, happy life, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to switch over to the game room now, so I can get back downstairs and we can go through a few things.
sounds
I don't want
good.
to bore your audience with this too much longer.
No, this is far from boring. This is definitely a treat. This is a very nice theater setup you got here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Looks like LAN parties.
That was the original
Yeah.
intent.
That's what that is for sure. If it's, yeah, it looks great.
Love all the decor. Man, that's so nice. Not only does he's got 2 ceiling fans. Look at that. 2 ceiling fans to take care of the guests there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's pretty sweet. I do like that. And you can watch TV too while you're at it.
Yep. I believe I've done that. That actually, I was big into NBA 2K. And whenever family and friends come over, I wanted to keep track of our scores of my winnings and their losses. So that's actually just a big black dry erase board.
No, it's awesome.
Man, that is just gorgeous. So you have a setup for each one. So how many in total PlayStation 5s do you have?
8 PlayStations, 8 Xbox Series X's. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We can game in any room in the house if we want to.
What type of networking system are you running for all this? This is got to be a pretty high networking system, right?
Sure, I'll show you next. I'll show you what I'm doing.
Okay, very good. Man, I just love the decor. All the movie posters. All the memorabilia for the PlayStation and Xboxes. That looks like the old back in the SOCOM days on that PlayStation you had there.
Yeah.
And what displays are you using for the TVs here?
These
the-
are the 2016 Samsung KS8000s actually, 4K 60. They were pretty, I won't say they were Samsung's highest in that year, but they were one of their, close to their flagship TVs back in the day. These are the Sony base stations, speakers with a subwoofer under the bottom of it. I didn't want to do a regular sound bar because I didn't want it to take up too much space. And I wanted the sound to sound balanced depending on what station you're sitting at. So no one station would be too overwhelming because, you know, the audio was a little too large for each one. So it's a great balance per station. That's gaming station 1 over there, gaming station 2, 3, game station 4, and all my theater seats. These are all of the seats that I have in throughout the house, except for my wife's seat. These are Seatcraft Sonomas.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very nice, wide seats.
I like
Power
the
recline,
cloth
power
too.
headrest. I'm
Is
big
that a
on
microfiber?
Yes, I'm not a fan of leather. I disdain leather if I can avoid it. Each gaming station has a bass transducer with its own amp.
Wow. Just absolutely gorgeous, Tarrus. You did a fantastic job in that room. I love it.
I appreciate that. Mini fridge. So if there are any gamers in San Antonio, I need more friends.
There you go.
Hey,
There you
I'll
go.
drive down from Dallas.
Come on, Knight. Come on, Knight. You and me, buddy. Bring your kids too if they game.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to take you guys to the media closet. Oh, control 4 here.
Very nice. I got some of those same switches in black, the 4 little button ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very nice setup. Very nice.
You'll notice that door handle is different than all of the rest of them throughout the house. I don't know if you guys paid attention to that. Any idea why that might be? I'll give you a hint.
It's lockable.
Imagine you're in your room watching a movie.
You thought of it all, Tarrus. You thought of it all.
You have to, man. You gotta
No
find out what those
rattles.
rattles are.
Got the mini split in there just for the networking. Oh yeah. Very nice. There's your Tarrus server that you were talking about.
Yep. 24 terabyte. I've got 106 Cat 6 drops throughout the house. These are the switches. You're wondering what my networking was like?
Wow.
These are Luxul. This is the Luxul 5248, 52 ports, 48 PoE. Those are the Apple TVs I was telling you about with the Roku. This is the connections in the back with the Proteus. This is what it looks like in the back with the XLRs.
Very nice. Very nice cable management too. Now, you said you consulted in Germany. Did you have somebody actually, set all this up for you? Is this something that you did yourself?
Well, it was just consulting with him with the acoustical panels. One of the actual
Okay.
reasons I bought the DSPs, I will tell you that was based on his recommendation as well. Because
Okay.
I was going to have him come here and calibrate, and we were trying to get things worked out about the best way to go about doing it. And he gave me 3 options. He gave me a lower end, something that would definitely work, but was fairly cheap. He gave me one that was a little more moderate, with a little more channels on it. But the highest one that he recommended, based on the setup I have, were the Ashley Protea, the NE24.24, the ones that I have here. Because of the flexibility and the number of channels you could have to calibrate all of your channels, as well as set up as many as you'd like to have in your system. So based on that, I decided to go ahead and get 2 of them. And one configuration is a 12 by 12, 12 input, 12 output. That handles all the bed layer. Then I've got a second one that's 8 input, 16 output. That's where all of my subwoofers are and my Atmos heights are.
And that cable management. Ooh,
Yeah, you were just talking about that.
Shame on me, man.
Hey, it's hard work. It's absolutely hard work. It takes time, but you know, the way that I see it is sometimes all we have is time, you know? And I'm not going to take credit for doing it all. I had some guys here doing a lot of the work for me, and they did the majority of it, but I watched everything that they did so that I could come back and clean it up myself the way that I would like to have it. And a lot of this is just me following up what they did and just tightening things down a little bit.
Was that a temperature gauge up there? That little
Yeah,
square
yeah.
button?
So,
Okay.
so basically, because I have the mini split in here, I always like to know what the temperature is on the equipment.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 of these temperature gauges. I actually have 4 here in the room. So this is the one that monitors what's going on with this rack. I've got one here that monitors a little lower on this rack. And then I've got one around the corner here. That monitors what's going on pretty much in the back of the rack.
Nice. What
got
brand?
that
What,
mini
what
split
brand is that?
Cranking.
What brand is that temperature meter?
The mini split or the
No, the temperature meter.
looks like it's DAQAUS, I think. DOCUS.
So one
They work
question
really well.
that we
They
got
not only
are-
take the temperature, but they give you the humidity as well.
Yeah.
So one question that we have, Tarrus, is about airflow. Is there a ventilation, something else that sucks the air out?
Yeah,
Besides,
the mini split actually does regulate the air in and out of the room, but I also have an active return right there in the room that sucks out all of the hot air as well.
well,
And I keep
from
the
what I
fan in
saw on
here.
that, what I saw on that temperature gauge, there is no hot air at 65 and 58 degrees.
No,
so-
and actually I used to keep it at 60. It stays cool in here, man. Even when the theater's on, the temperature gets up to about, if I keep it at 65, it'll get up to about 70 on this rack. And then it'll get up to about 59 over here on this rack. So, and these are all of the subs, the sub amps that I'm using for the 10-inch subs. I like crown amps. I had triad amps in here before to match the triad subs, but what I found is they didn't really give the subs enough headroom to be able to really play down low. They're fantastic amps, don't get me wrong, but I wanted a little deeper extension from my 10-inch subs. So I switched them all out with these crown amps. I've got 3 of these XLS 1002s, 2 subs on each. These 3 subs here are bridged, so they're getting about 1100 watts RMS. Then I've got them labeled over here with what they actually are, so I know what they are.
Wow.
This is a 1502. I've got 4 1502s, as well as these 3 1002s. Behind this particular rack here, let me see if I can pull this out. Give me 1 second. Let me know if I'm taking too much time with all of this.
No, this is fantastic. This is what the show's all about.
Like
This is
you
what
said,
we want to
all
see.
we got is time. Oh man. Man,
So it looks
Ecam,
like we
this is-
lost Adrian. What
yeah,
happened with
Ecam is
Adrian?
acting up. Yeah, Adrian and Eric got kicked out. I've been trying to add them back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm getting tired of this app, man.
Oh, finally, he's actually tired of it
I
now.
mean, it's almost up for renewal in December, so I might just let it go.
All right. So wow, look at all those cable loops.
That, yeah.
Trying to keep it from becoming a rat nest, but yeah. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's some major. How many Cat 5 drops? I mean, how many not Cat 5, but how many Cat?
Cat 6, 105.
Wow.
105. Yeah, you
We
got
like
a-
technology, man. We really do.
You got a network. You got a network center going on, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So this is the other XLS, the 1502. This is the other Emotiva amp here. 5 XPA-5. This is for 2 more subs. So that covers all of the 14 subs that I have in here. I got 7 total, right? 4 of the 1502s, and then 3 of the 1002s. And there are 2 channels per amp, so that covers that.
Hey, I'm planning a trip to San Antonio, man. Just know that.
Come on down, come on down, man.
I think Eric's joining too, according to the chat.
I'm
Please
coming.
tell this man I'm coming down to give him a hug.
Oh man,
Come on down.
yeah, yeah, we'll go together, man. Sheesh.
All right, just
Wow.
pushing this back. One sec. Oh. All right.
Man, just absolutely gorgeous. Just a fantastic job. So the initial install, Taurus, was that did you have an integrator for that? Is that something you did yourself?
I pretty much always had integrators. The only time I've not is over this last upgrade.
Okay.
This last upgrade, I pretty much did the second center channel install. I did about 6 of the subwoofer installs. But what I've been doing to try to get better at it is I'll hire the guys and come out to do the more complicated stuff. I'll watch them very closely with what they do. A lot of the time, they think I'm watching them to see if they're messing up or they're doing something wrong. But I'm actually watching to see how I could go about doing this myself so I don't have to hire somebody every time I want to do this work.
Right.
So I watched them work the last time, saw what they did, and then I actually started to do it myself, man. It was a lot of work on my end, but I got it done, man. I was pretty proud and happy that I was able to get it situated the way that I did and as cleanly as it came out. But the last thing I'm going to share about this room is these black switches here. These used to be in the theater. Once I actually did my upgrade, I had to go through the room to find the rattles in the room because I was getting things on the walls that were rattling. With architectural speakers and subs, the one thing you really have to pay attention to when you place them in the walls and in the ceiling, the dog ears that you actually extend out into the stud behind the drywall, you need to make sure that you put some weather stripping around the dog ears, between the dog ears and the drywall. Because if you don't, those dog ears are going to be rattling, and it may take you forever to figure out that's what's rattling. I thought it was everything around the speakers and subs, well, the subs mostly, that were rattling, and it was actually the dog ears that were extending behind the drywall with the subs. But I also found that these switches, these control 4 switches, were in the same cavity as my right rear sub.
Mhm.
The right rear sub was down here, like down there, and these were above it, and they were rattling like crazy. I had some electricians come out to try to insulate in between the switches. They put insulation under the plate so that it couldn't be seen. Nothing worked. So the last thing to do was to take them out of the theater and then put them here in the media closet, which is really just right outside of the theater. And it's been nice and quiet in that room since. So
You know what?
That's
You,
good
And
advice
you-
because I'll be installing
you
some of
probably
those.
just solved the problem that I was running into. I was doing a review. You know, we were talking pre-show. I'm doing a review of some amazing amps, and I ran ACT just before we got on, and my SVS in-wall 3000s that never used to rattle. I just started getting this annoying rattles, and I removed, you know, the cover thinking that that was the issue, but nothing. So I might need to go check those dog ears that are holding,
I,
because it was
I
so
guar-
annoying,
not,
man. Because
I'm not going to say I guarantee like Charles Barkley, but I can pretty much guarantee if you've not put any, I use some really thin, all you need is some really thin weather stripping to go over the drywall, to go in between the dog ears and the drywall,
oh,
right?
okay,
It'll
yeah,
stop a lot of that feedback that you're getting from the rattling, from the shaking of the subs in the drywall. Because it took me weeks to figure that out. I actually replaced the sub because I thought it was the driver acting up. Replaced the sub, use a warranty on it, put it back in. We're still having the same issue. So we troubleshot. We figured out that wasn't the issue. I played some really deep, heavy bass, heavy scenes to see if it was still happening. Sure enough, once I actually put my ears up to it a little closer, I really had to listen for it. And it was the dog ears. It was the dog ears rattling behind the drywall. It's hard to tell because the sound is it sounds like it's spread out somewhere. It doesn't sound like that's where it's coming from, but that's exactly where it was coming from. So what I
That's
did is
so weird.
I took all of my subs out, my in-wall subs out, in ceiling subs, put in some really quality but thin weather stripping under the dog ears, and sure enough, that the room is sounding a whole lot more clean, man. I was
That's
amazed
yeah. I
how good it
probably
sounded.
that's so crazy because technically those dog ears are supposed to be what holds everything in, right? That so that they're supposed to be super snug, super tight, right? So
yeah,
you wouldn't think that they would do the vibrating like
but
that.
with
Yeah,
subwoofers, right? After a while, anything might shake with subwoofers,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think
and
that you've given me a task for this weekend, man. I'm gonna have to get some weather seal
well,
and
and
just
Don, that's the reason. That's the reason I never put, I never thought to put weather stripping around the dog ears because I thought that I didn't really think that was a problem. But sure enough, if you're playing at higher levels, right, you're playing at higher gain or you're playing at higher SPL or higher volumes, yeah, those subs, those architectural subs, are going to uh, shake everything around it for the most part, as you know. And
Yeah.
those dog ears do have the capability to shake with everything else that's shaking in there as well. And it's happening so fast, and it's happening so quick. It's hard to tell that it's the dog ears. But once I actually figured that out, my room's been super quiet ever since. Another thing too, and I don't know if you have this going on, Ed. I mean, I in my ceiling with my ceiling subwoofers, the original subwoofers that I had done, that I had put in with my original integrator, we put in the Triad retro kits, the framing around the under the subwoofer between the drywall and the sub.
Mhm.
Just to give the sub some additional bracing, right?
yeah.
Well, the way that Triad did their retro kits back in the day, and they actually discontinued them, and I just realized why, is because they use plumber's tape to connect to the frame to the joist to keep that subwoofer nice and tight in the attic. Well, what was happening was the energy, the feedback from those subs, they were vibrating the plumber's tape. So I would hear rattling sometimes. I'm like, what in the heck is that? And I could never figure out what it was. I put my ear to the wall. I do all kinds of crazy things to try to figure out what was coming from, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, one day, um, just a couple months ago, during this last round of upgrades, the guys that actually did some of the install work for me, he had to come back and warranty some work that he did. And when he was at it, I had him listen to something I was hearing to see what he heard up there. So I played some really deep tactile bass, and he was like, "Oh, Tarrus, That's the plumber's tape that's connected to the subframes. That's what's rattling. So once I actually disconnected the plumber's tape from the frame, I folded it up, cut it, put I've got a lot of insulation up in the attic. So I just insulated around the sub much better, took all of the plumber's tape out. And sure enough, once again, I started to get clean bass.
Wow.
Nice.
So those are just some things. If you have architectural speakers and subs, you may want to consider as you're doing your install, because it can end up being a problem for you later if you don't think that through.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
is now at least from this evening. So now you just gave me some work to do this weekend, man. Jeez.
All right, guys, we're gonna head downstairs now.
Well, what I want to do first, I didn't really get the opportunity to add as many photos of my space prior to the most recent upgrade.
No
But
problem.
I will go through as much as I possibly can that I have for you to show you what I've done. But before I do that, because I had all of my panels up in my room and you didn't get the opportunity to see the speakers placed where they are in the space, that's what I want to do right now. I want to show you the all of the speakers and subs throughout the room.
Sure.
All right, let me share this with you guys.
You're driving. I told you I was giving the show to you anyway. So
All right, let's do it. Let's
He
do
does,
it.
he does sound better. Like
yes, he does. I will agree.
Don't
if he
inflate
told
me,
me
though.
it was gonna
I-
take
I'm-
another month. to
I'm
hang
over
up,
here trying to
I would-
adjust my
I
bass
would be
knob.
Okay, tell me about it more.
All right, so this is what's going on in the baffle wall now.
Yeah, that looks
so-
amazing.
We got the center channels there, and then we placed those. I think that's about 55 degrees out, maybe 55 degrees on each side.
And they look a little angled in too, correct?
Oh, they are. They're definitely tilted in 45 degree. Well, 22 degrees on each side, which is 45 degrees at the main listening position. These two are the bronze 4-slim subs on the outer end there.
Let me see if I can make this full screen.
Oh, there you
There
go.
we go.
So yeah, so these are the two bronze 4-slim subs. They're in parallel. These are the 6 bronze. All of them are 10-inch. 10-inch subs. This is the 6 bronze sub as well. So there's 6 total subs in this baffle wall. There is another sub right up here that you can't see, right above the right above the front stage there in the ceiling. So it's the front ceiling sub, I call it, a part of the 6 subs that are in the ceiling.
So the surrounding around the speaker, the speakers up at the top, I guess, or I guess is absorption. What material is that?
Are you speaking of this here? The black stuff?
All the
Inside,
not like the velvet, but that grayish looking.
That's actually Line Acoustic. This is when, like I said, I bought I set up my theater back in 2016, 2017. Line Acoustic was extremely well priced back then. I think I bought like it could have been a 20 foot roll. I think 2 20-foot rolls for like $300.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were very reasonably priced back then. But that's what that is. This is 2 inches of Line Acoustic. So I've got one. There's one layer under this layer that you see here on the outer layer. So that equated to 2 inches. What you see here, you see the little opening or the little patch here. This is where the first iteration of my front speakers were, where these 6 LCRs are here. Originally, they were here. The imaging was way too close together. So when the guys came and did the first upgrade back in 2023, that was the first thing that they did. We moved the left, right, front LCRs to the outer edge of the screen about, I'll say it's about 55 degrees on that screen wall. And this
So I
is
have
black velvet
question.
panels
your
around the screen.
subwoofers. Are they all on the LFE channel, or do you have
They
some?
are on yes, they are, but they're attached to the Proteus, to the Ashley Proteus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were doing like some of the subs on the actual bass layer or Atmos layers as well as LFE or not?
No, they're on the LFE.
Okay, cool.
What else we got here? Let's see. So this is the actual speakers on the wall, the in walls for the side surrounds. And when I was saying that the front wide, there's a cross stud right where I was planning on putting this front wide here. So they actually couldn't place a 45-degree baffle speaker in the wall because that cross stud was there. So what we did is we got matching front LCRs for the front wides, well, matching LCRs, I should say, for the front wides. And it worked out well. They're angled at 45 degrees towards the listening position. That's the left side. This is the right side. Now you'll notice the second row surrounds protrude out of the wall just a bit. The reason they protrude out of the wall a bit, because you saw the wires that are on the opposite side of the rack here in the media closet. So there are wires there. So we have to be careful of placing this where we needed to place it because of all of the speaker wires and the Cat 6 wires and sub wires and all of that on the opposite side of this rack in the media closet. But worked out great. This is 80 degrees in front of the listening position, about 10 degrees in front of the seats here. And this is about 10 degrees in front of the seats in the back row as well. These are the rears. And they are 30 degrees apart from one another. 15 degrees on each side of 180, directly middle of the room. This is just them a little further in. And this is what the ceiling currently looks like, with all of the Atmos heights and the subs in the ceiling, as well as the second center. This is from the stage looking back towards the room. This is me sitting in, I think I might have been sitting on the floor when I took this picture, but this second center, I absolutely love this thing. Love having that second center there. The great thing about that second center is it's not really like a voice of God. Typically, from what I understand, a voice of God is a little above you. This is directly in front of you. I think it's about maybe about 45 degrees, 40 to 55 degrees in front of the front row. So it's close enough to where you're getting very good imaging from it, but it's far enough away to where it matches the front center. And because I'm using the Ashley Proteus, they're both connected to the center channel input on the Ashley Proteus. There's no what do you call it, delay or any kind of
Is there comb filtering? No comb filtering? Is that what
yes,
you're looking
thank you.
for?
That's what I'm looking for. There's no comb filtering with the sound that's actually coming from it. It actually sounds as if it's one channel coming from the second center and the center in the baffle wall.
So let me ask you this, for the second center, because there are a lot of people, when they try to put two centers side by side, it creates that comb filtering and stuff like that. And there's a lot of I guess experts will say, not to do it. Right. So what actually, motivated you to put this? What was your use case for this? Did you feel you weren't getting enough output from the center channel?
No. The Triad silver speakers are fantastic speakers. There's enough output coming from that center channel behind that screen. That's not an issue. Really what I wanted to do this time around with these upgrades is I kind of wanted to experiment a little bit. I've always had ideas of adding more subs throughout the room to even out the bass response a little more evenly throughout. Always wanted to add a second set of side surrounds to the room. Was able to do that. The second center was something I always wanted to try. And the reason I wanted to try it, I didn't want to try it until I got the Ashley Proteus, because those DSPs work so darn well when when two output channels are connected to the input channel, I don't hear any comb filtering with it. So I kind of wanted to try a second center to see if the Protea would work well with the second center. And it was an experiment, and sure enough, man, it worked out. It sounds freaking great. It sounds as if it's coming from one channel, from one speaker. But if you stand up and you listen to the speaker there, you can actually hear the sound coming from that speaker. And it's just, once you get the gain right, it balances very, very well to where you don't want that second center overpowering the front center. So you kind of want to make sure that you blend in the SPL very well between the two. But I've not had it calibrated just yet. I've not had my system calibrated. So Jeff Meary, like I stated, is going to be coming to calibrate my system on Saturday. So I'm going to get his opinion to hear what he thinks as well. Because everybody that I talked to said not to do it. And I absolutely get why. Because of comb filtering and experiences that others had. A lot of people like to daisy chain them together and all of that. But I didn't need to do that because I have these Ashley Proteas that I can matrix onto the to any channel, any input channel that I have in my system. And it controls any comb filtering that has come from this second center. But
there's time delay and everything else added to this. They're operating as two separate channels, but actually, performing as one.
They're two separate outputs on one input, matrix to one input. But the Proteas, they work so well, man, that one input it's almost like I'm not here. There's no delay with the sound that's coming from these two speakers together.
Okay.
But like I said, I haven't had them measured just yet. So, I'll find out what Jeff thinks when he actually gets here on Saturday. But
well, look, this is what something like Ascendo is doing, right? For in their big theater that Shane Lee went over to wherever their factory is. He went over there and did a tour of their theater, and they had not only did they have speakers in the ceiling, but they also had them in the floor. So they to create one. Yeah. So they had them in both. So it was creating. If you haven't seen that, go to Shane Lee's channel and look up the Ascendo showroom that they had over there. They had a huge flat panel wall, kind of like a just video wall or whatever, and they were shooting them from the bottom and from the top. So there were 6 of them, two for each speaker. So hey, you may be on to something here, Tarrus.
I mean, I'm telling you, Don. To me, I can't speak for anybody else, and I'm not recommending anybody else do it, because if you don't have the proper gear, then you more than likely will be disappointed. But I've not been disappointed having these Proteas since I've actually had them. They've only played fantastic. I get no hum, no buzz in any of my speakers or subs. I added these 2 SVS hulking massive subs in the Spade this week, just a couple of days ago, and they're sounding and they're super silent when they're not on. So they actually produce very, very clean sound. The power that I'm getting from it is very clean.
Speaking of power, we didn't discuss that. Are you running 20 amp circuits, or are you running just
my whole house is on 20 amp circuits. Actually in this room, and I had somebody correct me. I put a post out a couple of days ago, and they're absolutely right. I actually put some bad information about my power in this room, but it's 12 duplex receptacles, outlets, right? So 12, 2 outlets, 2 receptacles, and on 3 breakers in the room. So 4 outlets per breaker. So the front of the room has 4. There are 2 behind the screen, and then those 2 that the subs are on, right? That's on the circuit. I've got another set of 2 in the middle of the room on the opposite side of the risers, and then I've got 2 in the back wall near the rear subs. So that's on a breaker. So that's 2, and then the riser has 4 as well, right? 2 in the front, two on the front of the face of the riser, and then two in the back where the back row is plugged into. So that's another 4. So there's plenty
What
of power.
about your
But
rack system? Is everything on 20 amp in there too? How many breakers are you running in there?
Don, I've got my whole house is 20 amps. You've seen how much
Oh,
stuff I
wow.
got in here. I had to actually go check my box, my fuse box, my box, and
Sheesh.
literally every amp, every outlet in this house, every circuit is 20 amps. The guys that did my build, when I told them everything that I was planning on doing,
Like,
they put 20 amps on everything. I actually had to go check a couple weeks ago. I'm like, did they do that? Sure enough, man, open up the whole box and everything was 20 amps. So-
Funny story about that. I think you've talked to John Anthony before, also, right? He lives in your area, and
yeah,
he's been
he
on the
lives in
show.
San Antonio too, right?
And yeah, he lives in San Antonio. He called an electrician out to come install 20 amps circuits at his house, and the guy opened the panel up, and he's like, all your circuits are 20 amp. So,
It just
so,
makes
yeah.
sense. You know what I mean?
So
It
yeah,
just-
so I guess that's something that they do in your area, just straight 20 amp everywhere.
You know, that I really don't know, but I will tell you that because of everything that we were planning on doing here, when I explained that we were going to do a lot of smart home stuff,
Okay.
they were wise to set up all of the outlets and breakers that we have in here as 20 amp.
Yeah, if you have custom builders, they're a lot more flexible. But if you're doing the cookie cutter homes, you're not gonna get
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And truth be told, the builder that built my home isn't really a custom builder. They only did a lot of custom things to the house that I wanted them to do because I was paying them.
Okay. Yeah, because you pay extra for it. Yeah.
I paid up front, so they were willing to do it. But yeah, so
quick question. Someone was asking, did you have subwoofers in the floor at one time?
never.
I hope not.
Never.
Hey man, what's wrong with subwoofers on the floor?
I
Hey,
don't
those
know.
are
I mean,
those
they
are
make
bass shakers.
Paul, there's actually nothing wrong with having subwoofers on the floor, but my theater, when I designed it with architectural speakers and subs in mind. So that's one of the reasons why I added as many subs as I did, because I wanted to, architectural subs, I should say, because I wanted to get a little more low end and then more output out of the room. But I still didn't want to put hulking subs on my floor. But after I did the 14 subs, I really didn't need it, to be honest with you. But when I posted, because I like to share some of the things that I'm doing so that anybody else is going through or plan to go through something similar, maybe you can inspire them to do something similar, or it might get to an issue they're having that might help to resolve it for them. But I put a post out on the most recent, once I finished all the 14 subs, and Don Dunn actually got on the post and recommended. He was like, hey man, you know what would rock with those is two 18 inch subs to go with that. I said, oh, that's a cool idea. It's interesting, but I haven't designed my room to have subs externally in the room. But I said, I'm gonna have to think about that. Sure enough, man, once you put that seed in my head, like, dang, man, he might be on to
Well,
something.
they have
man.
architectural subs for the floors. A lot of people don't know that are actual grates. They're thick, like steel plates and subs.
That I didn't know.
You're
Like I'm sure you can use the SVS 3000s. You can use them also.
Truth be told, I could have done the 3000s, maybe even the 4000s, and then placed them on not behind the screen, because I've only got about a foot behind the screen. That baffle wall is only about say about 10 inches with the speakers on the front, and with the baffle in front of that, the 2-inch baffle.
Yeah.
So there's about a foot behind the screen and about 6 inches between the screen and the actual front of the speaker itself. So there isn't a lot of room to place larger subs behind that screen, which is one of the reasons why I couldn't place larger speakers or get 18-inch subs behind it.
Yeah.
So the only alternative that I had, if I wanted to get even lower extension than what I have with these 14, were to put external subs in the room. And I'm kind of glad I did, man. I mean, it took a little while for me to talk myself into it.
It looks great.
Yeah, they don't look as bulky as I thought. they would
No, they're not
look,
actually. I was quite surprised by
you
that.
know,
And
for SVS style, you know.
Yeah, for that large of a sub, yeah.
Yeah,
The
they
SP,
look-
that's why I'm all sealed subs as well. It's just,
yeah,
yeah, you
And
don't get the
because-
10
Now the
hertz that you
PBs might be a
get.
different ball game, but those SPs look.
Yeah, those PBs are huge. I mean,
I
that's-
thought about the PBs, but the only thing about them is, man, I got 14 sealed subs in there already. I don't need
Yeah.
more output.
Yeah.
I just need to
Yeah.
put in SB what I have, and I should be rocking in there. But like I said, I've not had it calibrated just yet, and I'm not one to do the REW stuff just yet. Paul, I noticed the last episode you were helping folks work through REW.
Oh,
I've not
man, I
gotten to
have
that point just yet.
been so long. Yeah, we haven't even got to the complicated stuff, impulse response and ETC, and I'm like, I'm not letting Don talk me into another boring Rue show. There's
Look,
so
a
many
lot-
legit people that that do that they're good at teaching,
Yeah.
and whenever you're doing stuff like that, that's kind of, to me, the personality. Where me, I'm just like, well, I don't know, I
Well,
do
no,
this
and
and I
here's the
do
thing.
this
Here's the thing
works.
about it. For
There's
novices,
math in the background of my head that's like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, like,
I'm
it's like,
pretty sure it benefited somebody, Paul, because truth be told, when you're a novice and you really don't have much experience in it, any little bit of information that you can get, whether somebody considers themselves
yeah, that's
themselves
true.
or not,
That's true.
it's going to be beneficial. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that experience helped somebody out, particularly
Yeah,
like myself.
we got a lot of good comments on that.
Yeah, we actually
a
got.
lot of
We
Yeah.
actually even got
Yeah,
emails.
sometimes it's better not to teach someone all the answers, but to teach them how to ask the questions that they want to ask. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, now I have.
Yeah,
How does
we
this
got
go?
emails of people asking us to continue
Yeah.
teaching.
you
right?
can-
So
You can teach them to fish,
yeah,
or you can
Yep,
fish
there you
for
go.
them. How does the saying go?
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
teach one. So yeah.
You can drink a horse water.
Some people don't even know what it like. That's why I wanted to be as basic as we could, right? Because look, we know some of this stuff, and as a sales manager for so many years, I've always taught my team to be as almost as rudimentary as they can be, because when you're explaining stuff, you may say an acronym that other people are like, what's that? You know what I mean? I don't even, your customer don't know what that acronym is, but we say it so much,
Yeah.
you're used to it, right? AT, right? We all know that's acoustic transparent, but somebody just starting out, they have no clue, right? So,
Absolutely.
but yeah. So, I mean, look, don't knock yourself for that, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I know we've gotten emails about it. So, I'm boosting you up for another show.
I say don't stop. Keep it going, man. Continue where you left off. I'm pretty sure that.
The problem is it gets really complicated and nerdy really, really quick. Kind of like, in the back of my mind, I see two center channels. And fundamentally, mathematically, physics, you are going to have comb filtering. That's physics. There's no way around that. It's just going to happen. Now, how you calculate that is you calculate, okay, you use a laser pointer. Okay, that's whatever, 20 feet away. Boom. Okay, this one's only 18 feet away. So that's 2 feet. You take that divided by the speed of sound, like 1125 or 1130, depending on your, altitude, because even altitude and barometric pressure affects that.
Let's
you
not
take
get
that-
let's not get Paul started.
Yeah,
Man. It's
you
already-
take that.
I'm
you
enjoying it, man.
multiply
Look, I got my
times
notebook
two,
ready to go.
It's
and
already
then
11 p.m.
take the number, the 1 divided by that number, to get your comb filtering frequency. Now, the thing is, that is the fundamental, and then of course you have your second and third and fourth harmonics of that. But are you really going to hear that? I'm still that person, regardless of, hey, I know the science, but are you really hearing that? Are you really hearing the comb filtering? It's like, I don't know, So
And that's
I've
when we get
never been
subjective.
against it, but no,
Yeah.
scientifically, math is math and physics is physics. You can't break the laws of physics. But do your ears really? Do you really hear that? Are you like in that perfect, like, oh wait, oh yeah, I hear it right there. Oh wait, no I don't. You know, that's also where I'm at too. I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those things
hear you.
where it's. I love measurements. Science is science. As an engineer, I love all the engineering. I love the being able to prove something with facts that's repeatable, right? That's what makes it science, right? Just somebody saying, oh, I did this and this is the improvement I got. Well, that doesn't mean that that's fact. That just means that was your experience, and what you experienced, I'm not saying that that wasn't true, but a lot of the times what you're saying is not possible with other sciences that we've done. I can't explain why you had an experience that way, but I'm not saying your experience was wrong. And hey, opinions are based off of experiences. So, hey, everybody's entitled to, their own opinions. But it's all
we're
fun.
breaking the laws over here, Paul. We're breaking the laws.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, man, I see a little squiggle, it's like, oh, come on, man. There's what are you talking about? I'm not spending an extra $100,000 because of one squiggle. Get out of here.
All right, guys, let me go ahead and show a little bit more of what's going on here.
Okay, let me pull that back up.
All right. Okay.
So we're gonna have to tell Anthony that we kept you up past 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, well, once you get me started, man, might as well finish it, right?
I hear you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. No, it's midnight for you over there. You okay? You doing all right?
Oh yeah,
what time
I'm
is it over
great.
there, Paul?
I'm great. I'm great.
Yeah,
I'm
Central
enjoying every
Time as
minute
well.
of it.
Yeah,
Central Time, okay.
I've got one more beer left in me. Speaking of that,
I'm going to make this quick. Yeah, so this is a close-up of the front wide, the left front wide. And you can tell what they did is they connected a wire to the actual speaker itself to make sure that it didn't fall off of the shelf that was built for it. And you can see that it's actually in the drywall there, right? So they have it mounted in the drywall, and it worked really well. That's on the right side. And that's the front row of Atmos heights and subs and the center channel, the second center. Left side surround, front row.
What
Right.
type of cleating system is that?
That is actually, I forget what they call it. But those are the brackets that actually come with the acoustic panels that Anthony Romani provides
Okay.
with his acoustics. So what you do is you just put it over the clips there, and they set in pretty well, actually. There's no rattling, there's no rumbling. Works really well.
Very nice.
And what I did is inside of that panel, it's cut out to accommodate the actual speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they cut it was they kind of angled the cut to where it actually expands out as opposed to just being straight. So it expands out so the imaging can spread out a little bit more. The rack. This is with the SVS subs that you guys just saw. The grill on. And this is the work that I did to put in that XLR through the walls.
Very nice.
Pretty clean. I was pretty happy with the way
Very
that it
clean. Yeah, definitely.
But
Did you use the SVS cables, or did you go with something different for your
I
XLRs?
went with something different. I just bought them from Amazon, bought some good quality ones from Amazon, and I ran them through the wall, terminated them to the Phoenix connectors, the Euro blocks on back of the Proteus. This was before I added the third set of subwoofers in the bottom center there.
So is that front stage connected to your sidewall? Is that just velvet black paint or black velvet?
Is here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually black velvet. Those are
Okay.
black velvet panels. And the great thing about them is once the screen is up, they match the screen frame so that you're not getting any bleed
Yeah.
of any light from the projector on it. But yeah, so these are it's about a little less than a 2-foot panel on each side, and this is about 10 inches or so. And on the sides, that's actually fabric track with their Recore insulation, about an inch of the Recore insulation, with some GOM, Guilford of Maine fabric, the onyx. I think onyx is a color.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what that is. And this is what the wall looked like when those switches that I showed you guys in the media closet, when they were on the wall in the back of the room in the same cavity as the rear subs.
You got me second guessing whether I should even put those switches in there. Just control it from the iPad now.
You know, they're good to have, but I don't know if I would put them. It depends on how. Truth be told, man, get them out of there.
I spent like $1,000 on switches.
Well, what you can do is place them outside of the room somewhere if you can, because if you use an architectural subs, there's a very, very good chance that that you'll get some rattle out of them. Because I was quite surprised by everything I tried, man. We insulated the actual electrical box, wrapped all of the wires, you know, tightly to make sure that they weren't bumping into one another or bumping into the electrical box. But like I said, we insulated around the wall plate. We insulated between the switches and everything else, and nothing stopped it, man. It was just the actual switches themselves, the guts of the actual inside of the switch is what was rattling. So that's why I had to get them out of there. But like I said, it's right outside of the room in the media closet. So I don't need it because I have the touchpad. Everything can be controlled from the touchpad. So
yeah, their Control 4 is definitely proud of those switches. So they're not inexpensive at all.
Yeah, they're fantastic switches. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, I don't know if I bought these back in 2016. So
yeah,
maybe they've designed them a little bit differently to where maybe they've heard from people that have architectural speakers and subs that they're having issues with them. Maybe they did some engineering to clean that up. But these did rattle. So they're out of there now. So this is just showing you the rear subs on the wall in the back there. This is my old projector. This was the RS 620, I think. This is the original configuration of the room before I actually did the upgrades. So before any upgrades were done, this is what the room actually looked like. These are the Triad silver 4 surround subs, bipole speakers. I'm sorry, bipole speakers. This particular speaker is at 110 degrees from the listening position from the front row, which is typically what a Gramani recommends.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't take all of his advice because I made some serious mistakes. This is the left side. This is what the actual speaker looks like a little closer up. This is the rear sub on the back wall there. Now, this was a big issue, which is one of the reasons why I had to redo the Atmos heights, because there really wasn't much separation between the way that I had the Atmos heights placed in my first iteration from the rear wall. There's only about 15 to 10 degrees of separation between this rear wall sub, this rear wall speaker and this Atmos speaker here. The sound was just bleeding into one another. And at the time, after I finished having it set up, I thought it sounded great because I didn't know any better. But once I really started to research a little bit more into better placement, I realized the mistake that I made. And they're not angled in towards a listening position. They're just projecting inside of the room to the sides of the room as opposed to the seating. So that was another issue.
Yeah.
And this is what the original configuration looked like. You see the Atmos heights on the sides of the seating position,
Mm-hmm.
angled in, missing all of that imaging. And I typically sit here, so I'm missing all of that imaging coming at me because it's being dispersed to the sides of the room. There's the rear Atmos heights there, all the way on the back wall, bleeding into the rear wall speakers. Some really, really amateurish mistakes. This is what the original location and placement of my front LCR was. See how close the left, right are to the center there?
Mm-hmm.
So there really wasn't very good imaging when it came to something panning across the screen. It wasn't bad, don't get me wrong, but it needed to be a whole lot better,
Right.
which is the reason I did that first upgrade to get that fixed. And the patch, or in the original photo that you guys saw of the baffle wall, you noticed that there was a kind of a patch of line acoustic there. That's because this is where these speakers used to be. Now they're
Mhm.
here.
Right.
So what we did is we just put some insulation in there. We drywalled behind it, and then we put that patch that with 2 layers of line acoustic over it. And these outer subs are still in the same location they were originally. This is my guy, Juan Rodriguez, the guy that actually built the stage for me. He built the riser. He put the panels on the wall for me. Fantastic guy. And one of the things that I would do when it came to building up my my room, I would go to a lot of new communities, new home building communities that were being built. And I would speak to a lot of the carpenters there. I'd speak to a lot of the guys that were doing work there to see what their capabilities were when it came to what they did for the builders they were working for. And Juan was one of the chief carpenters working for one of the builders here in San Antonio. And after talking to him, he was willing to do the work for me to build the riser and build the stage. And he did the fabric wall for me as well, all of the fabric track, and he built the panels for me. He built the speaker panels for me as well in the original configuration. So this guy really, really knew his stuff, man.
That's great.
This was the nest before it got a little cleaner. But this is all of the Cat 6. These yellow wires are just Cat 6 coming into the closet here. That's pretty much. Oh, these are the panels, particularly the cylindrical panels, before I actually had them upholstered with fabric to cover them with light absorbing fabric. And they weren't bad, but you can see there's a little bit of glare coming off of the panels there. See that there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you get any, with your carpet being like a beigeish color, do you get any reflections off of your carpet?
No, I don't, because of the screen stage.
Right.
The screen stage pretty much absorbs a lot of the light coming off of the screen. And one of the things about the design of this room, the one thing I've noticed with commercial theaters, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it as well, is while we're busy trying to mimic and replicate the experience of being in a commercial theaters are now trying to replicate the home experience. So it's like, why would I want to replicate a commercial theater when they're trying to just replicate my home?
Right. Exactly.
So that's actually the way that I have this room designed. So it's kind of a combination of the better elements that you would see, that you would experience in a commercial theater, the big screen, the big sound, focusing your image on, focusing your eyes on the screen as opposed to everything around it. But I still wanted to have that homey feel as well, being a home, being comfortable in the space. as opposed to, you know, having lights around the room, fabric walls everywhere, replicating the commercial theater experience. I wanted a good balance of that. And that was the design ethos that I put in place as I was designing my theater. That goes back to the whole color scheme, using
Mhm.
neutral warm colors, and instead of leather chairs, I'm not a fan of leather, using fabric. Um, you know, so there were some choices I made to, like I said, replicate more of the home experience and the commercial experience. And I think I have a really good balance of it.
No, definitely do. You know, and my biggest thing for wanting to do the fabric walls was just to hide the speakers. So, you know, because you really don't want to see them. You know what I mean? When you're looking at the
Absolutely.
commercial theater, yes, you can see them on the side walls, but when you're looking up front, you don't really see the speakers there. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And
and I'm
that's the
with you about the color too, because I, although a blacked out theater is fantastic, I like a little bit of pop of color too. So I understand where you're at with that.
Well, you know, there was a guy that actually made a comment, a post on the post that I made in the home theater enthusiast thread on Facebook. He basically went off about, you know, people focusing on aesthetics when really it should be all about performance when it comes to your theater, because when the room's dark, all you're focusing on is the experience of watching your show and listening to your sound. And I get it, actually. I know where he's coming from. Makes sense if you're just using your room for one monolithic purpose. But if you use it for other experiences, right? If you're using it not just for movies, not just for TV, but you're using it for sports, you're using it for video games, you want to be sitting in a comfortable room to where you don't always have to have everything dark in your room. You don't have to have the lights off all the time.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't discuss is I've got like 6 lighting zones in this one space, right? The recessed lights are 3 zones. The 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 sconces are 2 zones. I've got 5 zones in my space, so I can have any configuration of light that I actually would like to have, and depending on the experience I'm doing. Because if I'm playing video games, I don't want to be sitting in a dark bat cave.
Right.
You're much nicer than me. I would just be like, dude, how many people will watch with you in your dark bat cave?
I know,
You know,
right?
Batman's a lonely dude.
If you have a
I mean, every
significant
now
audio,
and
or
then
if you have kids, you can always have a bat cave, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I get it. If you're trying to compare, and if you're trying to, you know, do the dick compare contest with who has the perfect audio video experience, if that's what you're going for, then yes. But I mean, how many people, even enthusiasts, are really, that's what they're going for? So even the people that are spending millions, they don't care. They want the experience. But the millions goes to the aesthetics a lot of the times, even for
Mhm.
these $700,000-$800,000
the high end,
systems.
yeah.
It's like,
It's the
yeah, even the
aesthetics.
most high end. It's like, if you wanted something that was just anechoic, that would even be cheaper. Just buy a bunch of cheap mattresses and put them on the walls, and you know, get some black sheets. Boom.
Yeah,
You
problem
know.
solved.
Yeah. So
I'm a
you're
very
much
polite
nicer
person,
than
Paul.
I am. I'm like, dude, get out of here. How many? You ain't got nobody coming over to your place. That's what that tells me.
I didn't want to give him the same energy that he was giving off, so I definitely tried
Yeah,
to respond in a more
that's what I'm
respectful way.
saying. You're a better man than I am, because I'd be like, whatever, dude.
But you know, it's okay. Everybody uses their spaces for different experiences.
That is true. That is true. You know, some people have the, you know, the fanciest, you know, motorcycle that they've never even started. It's like, that thing looks, and it does look nice. I'm like, yeah, that actually does look cool as all get out.
It is so funny too, because I was going to say what I was thinking was, would you tell a car enthusiast that why do you want a Hellcat? You could drive this Ford Focus and it's going to do the same thing that Hellcat's going to do. It's going to get you from here to there. It's
Yeah,
like,
Right.
yep,
no,
that's
you know,
true.
we do this for a reason, because we love this, you know,
Yep.
and we want certain experiences with it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So you can't bag on them too much, but
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on. Like, that is, I really do like your setup. You have a lot of things, and you do have a lot of more pricey things, but I don't see anything really in your setup that's like over the
Not
top.
attainable.
You know, it's
Not
like,
attainable. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, some people would be like, oh, I need to do like, 18-inch subs everywhere where I got the 10s, and I'll just pay someone to engineer my ceiling and put in 18-inch subs instead. And it's like, do you really need to do that?
Hey man, I ain't rich, Paul. I ain't rich. You know what I'm saying? I'm more comfortable. I'm gonna be 50 in
Yeah,
December.
I hear you.
I
I
ain't
want
rich,
to
but I ain't
enjoy
broke.
Yeah,
a
I'm
little
not
time I
rich,
have
I'm
left on this earth.
And I've had a lot of 10-inch subs at one point, and dude, those things hit hard. I mean, I bet you your system it thumps.
These
Like,
triad subs, man, they're pretty darn fantastic. And what I didn't share with you is, actually I did talk about it a little bit. I switched out all of the triad amps that I had connected to the triad subs.
yeah,
Because as I said, they
grounds.
weren't really providing enough headroom for the subs to really play where they can actually play. And I always thought Crown amps looked a little funny to me. I'm like, these amps look a little funny. They do look funny, but hot dang if they aren't some fantastic amps though, man.
That's
They're
pro
clean,
audio.
power.
Yeah.
I was just amazed how neutral they are. And I played the same scenes that I was playing with my triad amps with these Crown amps at the same SPL. And sure enough, man, those subs were singing, man, without any distortion. I was like, see, this is what I was going for. And that's why I switched out all of those amps and got basically 7 of the Crown amps. And the only thing about Pro amps, particularly these Crowns, is if you don't have a way to trigger them off, they don't actually have a trigger on them. So the way that I actually have been triggering them, luckily the Panamax, the 5400Ms that I have 4 of them. There were 2 in the rack inside of the actual server room connected to all the subs. But you can trigger all of the subs on the Panamax, and that's what I do. So whenever the AVM 70 comes on, my Emotivas, the Crowns, everything comes on. When I shut it off, everything goes off. So
that's a better way to actually do it, because then you won't get a ground loop.
Yeah.
Whenever you go through like a Panama or they make power, like APC makes
Power
that, where you'll have one outlet will be basically a trigger outlet, and you'll have a bank of outlets that, hey, turn on when this pulls more than idle power, because there's always idle power. But that's cool. Yeah, I really dig your setup, and I'm like, man, do I want to put subs in the ceiling now? That's no, not really.
It was an experiment. Everything that I did in this room, and I know that you said, and you're right, science is all about the science, because sometimes the science will tell you not to do things, and every time.
That's just it. But does that make an experience?
It doesn't negate the experience that you actually have listening to them.
Exactly.
Everybody told me that it's not a good idea to have a second center. But when I put that second center in, and when I connected it to the Protea, to the input channel that the main center was on, dude, it sounded freaking fantastic. So the science tells you no, but your ears might actually be telling you something different. Yeah. So, but my room is a lot of experimentation. And so far for me, it's been working out. I wouldn't recommend anybody else do it, because I don't know what kind of experience they have. And I'm not an engineer. I couldn't tell you exactly what to do or how to get it. But I will tell you that my experience has actually worked out for me.
And that's just it. Yeah. If you like it and enjoy it, it's like, okay. It's like, yeah, I got comb filtering there. Well, guess what? I don't hear, or I got them crossed over. It's like, hey, they're this far away. Well, yeah, I got them crossed over higher than that. So there's no comb filtering in that situation.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll find out. We're taking some measurements this Sunday. I'm not hearing any comb filtering with my second center. But like I said, Jeff is going to be here on Saturday. I'm going to get his experience and his info of how he feels about the space. But like I said, I've been pretty happy with the way that everything has turned out. Yeah. All right, guys, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you guys are probably tired. It's already midnight for Don.
Oh man, are you kidding? This Don guy keeps us up.
We usually stay up an hour after the show talking anyway, so you're good to go.
Very cool. So this is them working more in the space, trying to get everything set up. So as you can see, they moved the original location for the left and right front LCRs out of there, and they started to do the work for place them a little more outside of the inner screen. You can
Is
see
that
the
a
window.
window we see
Left
over
the
there?
Yeah, you see that
aesthetic-
there?
Left the aesthetics on the outside of the house.
Like I said, only have about 12 inches behind that screen. That's why I couldn't put a sub back there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually a 2x8 that I have in front of the front wall. And then there is this that you see here. This is two 2x4s, horizontal. So that's an additional 4 inches. So 8 plus 4, 12 inches. And then this is about an inch, the screen frame, right? So that adds another inch. So from the back wall, from the front wall, I should say, to the actual back of the screen, it's 13 inches. The face of the speaker is exactly about, I'll say, 6 inches behind the screen, roughly.
Too. I'm not sure, what his measurements were before, but the SVSs are definitely digging down into the teens.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they are. The 10-inch subs we have down to, I think we put the high pass at 25 hertz. So they start to roll over at about 25 hertz. But we'll continue. I'll play with them a little bit more because now that I have these Crown amps, they can play a little longer, a little deeper. So I'm going to see if we can extend it down to maybe 20, because they can go down to 20. I know they can go down to 20 with good power. So when Jeff comes, we're going to play with all of that.
that's great.
Yeah, right now I think I have them crossed over at 120. One thing that Don Dunn recommended was to utilize the 10s as kick subs, and then use the SVS as lower extension subs to see how that will work out. So we're going to just play around and try some. Like I said, it's been a big experiment up to this point. So when Jeff gets here, we're going to experiment a little bit more and see what frequencies work best with everything going on in the room to get the best performance out of everything there.
Yep. It's just
Look,
yeah,
it's
just
been
another
it's been
play. It's fun. It's fun. It is. It's always fun. So
it's been a fun journey, and I've enjoyed listening to your journey on your show. For those that are joining a little late, this is Tarrus from the Fun Waste of Time podcast. So if you haven't checked out his show, make sure you go over to his website. And I think I dropped in the Spotify link to listen to his show. So they talk about everything over there, from movies to games to comics to the movie studios, what the movie studios are actually doing, predictions on what movies may be coming out, and just a fantastic show. Tarrus, we definitely appreciate you joining us this evening, and I'm sorry we haven't had you on earlier. I know our schedules were a little conflicting there, but hey, I definitely appreciate you joining the show this evening.
I had a fantastic time hanging out with you guys. It was an absolute pleasure to finally get the opportunity to talk to you, Don, because we've been corresponding back and forth, but we never really had the opportunity to chat. So it was good to talk to you, Ike. Pleasure to meet you, my friend. Really, really cool guy.
Thank you.
I'm sure Ike will be on your doorstep tomorrow.
Let me think Paul real quick, Don. I can't leave Paul out. Paul, I appreciate you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
hey,
And,
I appreciate you. I always learn a little from every guest. People don't realize that, because it's one of those things where no matter how much you think even if you're not learning like a new science, you might be learning a new perspective on something. Like your LAN room, dude, man, I will be telling Ton about your LAN room. I'm like, oh, you gotta watch this episode, bro. Like his LAN room is like, yeah, I'm a little jealous. That's pretty nice.
I really appreciate that. But you guys are doing fantastic work, Don. I really do enjoy what you guys do. I've watched a couple of episodes that you guys have done. Keep doing it, man. Even when you guys don't have guests on the show, just the banter that you have between you is
we're
fun to enjoy. I may not watch the whole episode, but when I do actually get the opportunity to check you guys out, you're talking about some cool stuff, man. You can tell you're guys that enjoy hanging out with one another and spending time with one another. And it's the same thing with my show, man. It's all about hanging out with people you enjoy talking to and talking shop about your favorite hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a release from my 2 jobs that I work, and I really do enjoy the passion of home theater, and thanks to Ike, he pushed me along to go ahead and do this, because he had been asking for quite some time, and I finally like, all right, let's just do it, right? So, and then we got Paul involved. So,
it's like, man, you need the antagonist. They're like, we need an antagonist. Oh yeah, I know.
That is awesome.
Well, once again,
you have me on.
No, thank you so much. Just a fantastic theater. Thank you for taking us through that journey. But until next time, listen. Thoughts and prayers to everybody that experienced the hurricane. And I hope everybody's doing well. Unfortunately, definitely an unfortunate event, but thank you everyone for joining the show. Tarrus, just hang on for a second, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
All right, cheers, guys.